Oh, your mother. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh no. I am shook it right now. Whew. Hello, thank you for the likes. Now this channel message right here got me shook it. I ain't gonna lie to you now. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. Whoo, shit. Got me shooken. Hey, Symphony. Oh my God. Okay. So I've been talking about this for several lives, not like back to back to back, but I've come on here and talked about this, and I was like, Spirit, do I really have to say all this again? Because I feel like a broken record. But baby, the time is near, the time is nigh, the time is now. Okay, like this shit about to get wild. Okay, about to get wild. I'm just gonna tell y'all, they not ready. Okay, so I was hearing something about the investment property is a money pit. There's mold, foundational issues, walls not patched with sheetrock. So the image they were giving me is like people haven't punched a hole in the wall and they just cover it with some paper or something. It's not like really patched. They just cover it with paper and then paint it, and it looks like it's regular. Hey, abundance. So yeah, if you about to get investment property, Spirit said don't do it, or at least get it thoroughly checked first by a neutral party. So don't have no inspection done by. So this is a pro tip. If you're going to buy a house, do not use an inspection company that's connected to the mortgage company, because why would an inspection company connected to you getting approved for the mortgage say that the house you about to get is jacked up? They wouldn't do that because they would fuck up the deal. So make sure you hire your own inspector, your own, independent party, so that you don't, get shafted. So I was also hearing about a bad business deal regarding a fleet of cars. Spirit was saying it's kind of like an auto dealer is trying to buy like a fleet of cars. It could be something like somebody's buying a Turo business, or at any rate, if you were planning on purchasing a fleet of cars or multiple cars, like in a business transaction for business, it's a bad deal because the cars have been flooded out. Let me breathe. Because this is where it started getting real. Okay, your money is closer than you think. Believe that there are innumerable ways for the divine to get it to you. I was hearing that a celebrity, primarily like a musician, DJ, or producer, is watching you, and it doesn't have to be a musician, but I was getting musicians, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a musician. And this person could also be, I feel like this person is also a celebrity in the spirit realm. So they're a celebrity in the natural, but also a celebrity in the spirit realm. They have, apparently the celebrity is watching, like if you post, if you go live, whatever. And they have a very interesting proposition. So I basically feel like this person understands divine unions. They know who they are. They know who you are. They're just as powerful as you. And they are the masculine. So I'm talking from a feminine perspective right now, just because when I was channeling the message, spirit kept saying he, and I know it's a masculine and feminine. And so I'm gonna speak from like the masculine to the feminine perspective, if you will. So I was hearing he will take care of you if you will just be a channel for the divine. So when I was questioning, like, why would this person need to be with someone to be a channel if they're just as powerful? And Spirit was basically saying that the meaning of channel in this sense means that the two people coming together essentially will become Christ. So, all of us have a masculine and feminine aspect, just like Source has a masculine and feminine aspect. And so these two people coming together are reincarnated deities. I'm going to say you because I know that somebody I'm talking to is on here. These two people are reincarnated deities, and they are basically the embodiment or the vessel of the masculine and feminine of Source. So these are two people who are pure Source energy. One is a feminine, one is a masculine. They came, and this is what the Trinity is, and this is what I've been talking about. The Trinity is Israel, which is Isis, Ra, and Source. But the masculine and feminine, basically represent two people coming together to create Christ. So the metaphor is like Source energy existing separately in separate vessels, and then they have this soul contract that cannot be broken, they can't be stopped, and it just comes together. And once they become one, then they become Source, which is Christ. And so this is the fulfilling the prophecy of the second coming. Like, this is why I am shook up. Thank you for the follow. But this is the fulfillment, this divine union, and I've talked about this before, this one particular divine union. There are a multitude of divine unions, but this one particular divine union, where these two pure embodiment of Source are coming together. And I'm telling you, these people are the legs of the Trinity. So Source is here, like Source is, at the top. And these two energies are the branch offs of Source's masculine and feminine. And so in order for this masculine and feminine to fulfill the prophecy, come together, all of that, they had to each reach enlightenment independently. So in past, what Spirit was saying is that in past lifetimes, they were constantly working things out, working things out, working things out, because ultimately this is source balancing their masculine and feminine in a vessel. So it's different to balance your masculine and feminine from a spiritual um level consciousness, in that other dimension. But like when you transition from a body type place, then it is to work out and balance the sources masculine and feminine in a vessel. And so once sources masculine and feminine in a vessel balances themselves in their independent lives, and then two enlightened beings are able to now come together and create the Christ, which is the final prophecy, which is basically the second coming of Christ. So initially, Christ came as, like one vessel from this, like this miraculous birth. But the second coming is two people, masculine and feminine, who had to independently balance their inner masculine and feminine and achieve enlightenment and then come together. But like I said, these same energies have gone through lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, and they have never finished like working to enlightenment. So they always got together. They always knew that they were divine beings. But there's a difference between like having a Kundalini awakening and tapping into your spiritual side or whatever. So what I'm talking about is that, over the lifetimes, over the span of um basically how long the earth has been in existence, um they have been working to basically fulfill the prophecy of the second coming. And it was, I'm trying to ask, like, why would it be that way this time? Because um so it is giving the energy that because Christ was like a miraculous birth, and so people pretty much already knew that he was special and different and had all these supernatural powers. So like even though it happened in a way that didn't seem, what am I trying to say? So his birth, so he was already a miraculous birth. So basically what I'm trying to say is that he came into existence and there was already like this understanding that this was not a regular being. But with source energy in two separate vessels, then it wasn't like a vessel that had of the balance already as one person. It then required two people to balance their each individual energies and then come together. And so they had to work it out in a vessel lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, because it's different when you're just born, from a man and woman. It's nothing miraculous about the birth, it's just a regular birth. It's different having to work issues out from that perspective, not knowing that you're this divine being from birth because of how it came about, um the two people had to operate. They're still divine beings, they're still supernatural beings, but they were required to operate from a human vessel standpoint, because that's a different experience, a completely different experience, especially when you spend the majority of your life not knowing that you have spiritual gifts or supernatural gifts. So so basically it's way harder to do it that way. I mean, obviously, because Jesus knew who he was. It wasn't like he was questioning it. It was other people who were calling it blasphemy and saying, oh, he shouldn't be calling himself the son of God or whatever. I'm not a biblical scholar. I don't know the Bible like that, but I think that's what they were saying, is that he basically was purporting to be source or God in a human vessel. And people were like, you tripping, you got to go. And so now it becomes a situation where the two parts of source energy now have to come into a vessel, and one is a male, and we're talking about heterosexual union. So one is a male, one is a female. They come together after going through lifetime after lifetime of just working shit out, closing cycles, working on themselves, working on their relationship, working on it was basically like on again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again. One would die first, then the other one would die first, and then on again, off again. Like it was just a constant I wanna say merry-go-round, because that's what it feels like. But the all of that work was basically a sacrifice. So when you do the work in a vessel as source energy, that is, oh Lord, I lost my train of thought. So when you, Lord have mercy, you said so much confirmation. Okay, good, because I really feel like I'm tripping a little bit. I'm like, I told you this message got me shook. So so the two people come together, but these two energies have incarnated over and over and over again, and have, that's Source's way. Oh my God. So what they're saying is, like, Source tried to come and assist people with their awakening as Jesus, but because even though he was this supernatural being from conception, they didn't want to accept him. Because, see, Source was like, okay, well, if I send myself, hey, Source is like, if I send myself in human form, but I'm like come out the womb supernatural, then they're gonna accept me. I can help them become enlightened, and everything will be great on the earth. But then that didn't happen, and then so now the task is to come in two human vessels versus one, and have to work through life and work out, work out challenges and all these things in life, in order to individually balance their masculine and feminine, individually have a Kundalini awakening, and finally come together, fulfilling the prophecy of the second coming of Christ. Because the two people become one, and that, so they were talking about like the marriage ceremony and the two people becoming one. And just give me a minute. I feel like I'm talking like like I can't stop. So yeah, so I basically, like I said, I don't know a whole lot about the Bible, so I was having to look up something because they were saying, so let me talk about your person. Whoever I'm talking to, let me talk about your person. So, like I said, he'll take care of you and you'll also like the person. So it's not going to be like this transactional, old wrinkled, sugar daddy or whatever. Um, they were trying to be funny and said not sugar daddy but baby daddy. So for some of y'all, it might be a baby in the spiral, but I know that may not apply to everybody. This person wants you with him all the time. He won't shower without you. He won't eat or sleep without you. He won't work out without you. And they emphasize the fact that he loves you the way you are. So it's not like he's trying to work out with you to make you smaller or anything. Because I feel like this might be a little slim, thick girl, maybe. They were saying he loves you just the way you are, but like you still have to move your body. You still need to exercise just because people are getting older or whatnot. Although I do feel like this couple is going to start aging backwards. I do feel like that. And so it's like Spirit was saying, it's like a healthy obsession because he's not normally like this. But it's going to be a healthy obsession. And I was hearing that you awakened him and the divine has been working on him over time. So for some people, that could mean that you've already met this person and, you awakened him and then you all went into separation and the divine is bringing y'all back together. Or you could be awakening him energetically, not knowing this person. So those are the two options. I was hearing he wants to spoil you, travel the world with you, build with you, establish new traditions. I was hearing that this person doesn't really rock with his family like that. I was hearing he's just as tapped in as you. Apparently he knows that you're his divine feminine already. And once you become one, he returns to you. So, yeah. So, source is like, surprise, I'm a woman type shit. Yo, I look, I told you at the beginning I was shooketh with this shit. And it's not shit, but I'm like, what? Okay. So they said once you become one, he returns to you. For all of y'all misogynists. Well, okay. So yeah, we're gonna revisit that. So, they were talking about these two people integrating with Source. So basically, that's becoming supernatural. So when you join with your divine masculine, and from what spirit is telling me, that this could definitely be a lot of people, because um once you join with your divine union, then you both become supernatural. So it's almost like you each plug into each other, and the current, like the energy current that runs between you, around you, through you, and all of that, once you come together, that makes the two of you supernatural. So instead of it being Jesus, one person who was in a vessel and was supernatural from the gate, these people, like I said, have had to, or you have had to work out your masculine and feminine over lifetimes. And so now coming together as two reincarnated ancient deities who, and this is for entertainment purposes only, two reincarnated ancient Egyptian deities. You come together as one, you fulfill the prophecy. And what I was like, in a past live, they were talking to me about the 7 seals, but I specifically channeled the 7th seal. Hold on. So yeah, the masculine and feminine come together in a vessel, and that union reunites them with Source. This is the first lifetime when a masculine and feminine achieved enlightenment in the same lifetime individually. Them coming together is the metaphor of Christ, like I was saying. The dark, I've said this in a previous live. Come on, mama. What are we doing? Sorry, y'all. The dog is like destroying the toy. Stop. It sounded like she was choking on the daggone toy. Down. So, so them coming together is the second coming of Christ. But like I said, instead of being supernatural from the conception, the two people had to work out their lives, in vessels separately as two people, and then come together, because this is the final judgment. And that's where I was getting, they were talking about the 7th seal. So I say he has been waiting for the feminine to close the final seal, close the final cycle, and I put seal the 7th seal. You see that? And I don't know, like I said, I don't know about this stuff, so I have to look it up. But again, he's been waiting for the feminine to close the final cycle, seal the 7th seal. This couple is the key to humanity. They will unlock the wealth of the ages and return it to God's chosen. People are going to be so jealous of the relationship. A lot of spiritualists have tried to stop this union. They've tried to destiny swap. But Spirit was like, first of all, that's not a real thing. And secondly, these people will come together no matter what, because it's again part of the prophecy. And so I looked up the second coming of Christ, and I also looked up the seventh seal prophecy. So there are 7 seals, and the 7th seal is the prophecy in the book of Revelation, chapter 8. I mean, 8 is very significant. Infinity, and that's kind of like how the Jesus, symbol looks. I mean, I know it's a fish, but like the Jesus sign is like the infinity symbol, the 8, infinity. It signifies a solemn pause, a half hour of silence in heaven before the most intense divine judgments unfold, revealing 7 angels with 7 trumpets that herald escalating punishments upon the earth, ultimately leading to the return of Jesus Christ and the final establishment of God's kingdom. I'm just going to let that sink in, because I channeled this information and had to look it up. And that's what the 7th seal prophecy is. Bruh. Right. So, yeah. So as the story goes, it was Isis and Horus who came together and had hair standing up. Okay. It was Isis and Horus that came together. Oh no, Isis and Osiris that came together to create Horus, which is the metaphorical Christ. So that's where the story comes from. It's like, so it's kind of like the masculine and feminine still having to come together in order to create Christ. But it doesn't have to be a baby this time, because like, being that these 2 people had to work things out in their vessels independently, they're 2 grown ass people coming together in union. So, they may or may not have a child. I really feel like that this union is supposed to birth a very high-ranking spiritual being. But I'm just going to leave it there, because some folk get upset when you start wishing children on them. So I'm just going to leave it there. Okay. So when I looked up the translation of Horus, because thank you for the follow, they were directing me to look up the translation of Horus. Horus means the distant one, he who is above, the one on high. Bruh. I hope y'all tracking. So, the second coming of Christ. So, they were basically saying that, well, what I looked up as far as the second coming of Christ, they were talking about how initially he came as a baby, and then the second coming, instead of being a baby, he would be a man king. So instead of, like I said, instead of being a baby, he would come as a man king. Thank you for the follow. However, we're not talking about man literally. Because when we talk about man, that could be male or female. I do think this is like the age of Aquarius and the return of the feminine. Like I could be wrong. But the second coming of Christ is a man king that will be the establishment of the new heaven on earth. I've been talking about a wealth transfer. So the new heaven on earth is free from sin, pain, and death. It represents the culmination of God's plan where Christ triumphs over evil, death, and the devil. I don't know what the fuck these two individuals did. But yeah, these ninjas done overcame evil, death, and the devil. I swear for God, your life must have looked like a fucking shitstorm daily. A major shitstorm. Because, bitch, if you overcame evil, death, and the devil, bitch, you's a bad bitch. You's a bad bitch. Moving right along. So, it basically refers to the internal awakening. The event signifies the end of the current broken world. So the event signifies the end of the current broken world order and the beginning of an eternal existence in communion with God. This is from Google. I'm just the messenger. So if you have a life path 7, I would say that is very significant. Okay. So yeah. I'm tripping. And then, so let me read some of this. You just got chills for real. Like, for real. You're a life path 7, Symphony. So I had looked up what is the second coming of Jesus Christ? And on this site, it says, the second coming of Jesus Christ is the hope of believers that God is in control of all things and is faithful to the promises and prophecies in his word. In his first coming, Jesus Christ came to earth as a baby in a manger in Bethlehem, just as prophesied. Jesus fulfilled many of the prophecies of the Messiah during his birth, life, ministry, death, and resurrection. However, there are some prophecies regarding the Messiah that Jesus has not has not yet fulfilled. The second coming of Christ will be the return of Christ to fulfill these remaining prophecies. Like I said, going through the bullshit. So in his first coming, Jesus was a suffering servant. In his second coming, Jesus will be the conquering king. So that could even, that we talking about a metaphor for before your awakening and then after your awakening. So you could have been just on some straight fuck shit financially, having to scrape, having to damn, do all kinds of strange things for some change so you can feed your kids and stuff like that. Yeah, that was the first part, and then you had the Kundalini awakening, and now we had the second part. Okay, and so this is the part where this is like the second coming. So, oh shit. So that is really a description of life. Oh my God. So Spirit said your first coming is when you're born as a baby. Then you die and have the Kundalini awakening, the death and the resurrection. And then the second half of your life is the second coming. So it says Jesus will be the conquering king. Oh my God. So it talks about that Jesus arrived in the most humble of circumstances in the first coming, but his second coming, Jesus will arrive with the armies of heaven at his side. And so that is like the first coming, like I said, your birth and the first half of your life before the Kundalini awakening, and then the second coming is the second part of your life. And so it's basically going from rags to riches, because you were born into this life as a suffering servant, having to go through all the trials, tribulations, being beat down, getting bullied, being punked, being played in your face. So you had to go through all of that first in the first coming. And then the crucifixion is like the death of your first coming. So the death of your first coming, just like the metaphor of like Jesus being hung on the cross, dying and resurrecting in 3 days. So basically that's what happens. You had to suffer the first half, then you die and you are reborn in the awakening. And then so the second half is you being the conquering king. And you'll have the armies of heaven at your side. Because it says, in his second coming, Jesus will arrive with the armies of heaven at his side. And look, it says, this is what had me shook, because it says the Old Testament prophets did not make clearly this distinction between the two comings. This can be seen in Isaiah 7:14, 9, 6 through 7, and Zechariah 14:4. As a result of the prophecies seeming to speak to two individuals, many Jewish scholars believed there would be both a suffering Messiah. Now listen to this now. Hold on, let me plug this in. So it says, as a result of the prophecy seeming to speak to two individuals, many Jewish scholars believe there would be both a suffering Messiah and a conquering Messiah. And that's what I talked about: being born, the first coming, the death, the resurrection, the basically the Kundalini awakening, and then the second half. Now, and I'm talking about having achieved enlightenment, through a Kundalini awakening, like not like something you created through breath work. We're talking about a spontaneous Kundalini awakening. Okay. So it talks about there being only one Messiah and would fulfill both roles. That right there. One Messiah and fulfill both roles. So do you pick up what I'm putting down? So both roles would be the suffering Messiah and then the conquering Messiah. Whew, baby. Come on now. Jesus fulfilled the role of the suffering servant, Isaiah chapter 53, in his first coming. Jesus will fulfill the role of Israel's deliverer and king in his second coming. Describing the second coming, look back to Jesus being pierced. Israel and the whole world will mourn for not having accepted the Messiah the first time he came. Now, this is the damn kicker. Because, like, right now, as I read that, I feel like Spirit is saying that all of this shit could have potentially been fixed had the first coming not ended the way it did. Now, take that with a grain of salt, because this is stuff I'm channeling like actively right now, but I need to take a deeper dive into these concepts, because I could really be speaking metaphorically, because I don't want to make it seem like, oh well, the source didn't know whether Jesus gonna be crucified or not. Yeah, they know everything that's gonna happen way before it happens. So like, to say, oh well, we could have fixed this previously, but we didn't because we, unalived the Messiah. I wouldn't even feel comfortable saying anything like that, because everything is in divine order and divine timing. There is nothing out of order. There is nothing that is nothing that occurred that wasn't supposed to occur. Like, all of these things were already known, and so it's blowing my mind to think about that, because it's basically like, what's the analogy? It's like I'm trying to articulate this in human words. Like, it's in my mind, but I'm trying to say it in a way that is going to be easily digestible. So it's almost like watching time in reverse. I don't know if that makes sense. Oh, tell me if that makes sense. But it's really like the energy, like the imagery that they're giving me is really like seeing the beginning from the end perspective, which is wild to me. Um but I guess like that's a concept, like seeing the beginning, seeing the end, or seeing the beginning from the end. I don't know, maybe not. It's so hard to it's I'm not gonna say it's hard to articulate because I don't like speaking that over myself. But it's basically like Source knew what their energy would have to go through and experience, and for how long, and what they would have to experience in order to get to the lifetime where they both achieved enlightenment together. Um and it's hard for me to say that because like I just can't see these. I have to dive a little bit deeper into that because I have to get a feel for like how these energies were in past lives, because I just can't see either one of these energies not achieving enlightenment because they're so powerful. Okay. So I feel like they're saying that they prevented them from achieving full enlightenment in previous lifetimes for that purpose, because they still, like, when you still have to work stuff out. You can still be operating at a high level spiritually, but it's not that pinnacle. So I feel like there's probably there may be quite a few spiritualists that feel like, I'm flowing in my gifts. I'm able to do this and that, but it's just something that I feel like needs to be unlocked. It's like that type of energy. um So I feel like they definitely knew that they were divine beings in every lifetime, but there was just like a limitation to how far they could go as far as enlightenment, like full enlightenment. But that's why the year 9 and 10 is so significant, because I feel like Spirit is saying that year 9 is the 9 that um, the feminine closed that final cycle. And so, that was like 9. Some people look at 9 as completion, some people look at 10 as completion. But either way, it was a completion. It was a fulfilling of the soul contract, is what I'm hearing. And so I feel like that's why I was saying in my last live that the soul contract is under review, because what happens is, um, once someone has gotten to that point, they're like, okay, well, they fulfilled their contract, so we need to review it and, figure out where we're going from here. And so when your contract is then renewed, you then achieve, you get, um, so when your contract is renewed, that's when, like, that's what's attached to the second coming, and attached to the like being on the successful side. So instead of being the suffering servant, you would be the king. That's a big jump. So going from the suffering servant to the king, that's a big jump. And so that's why I'm saying that it has taken a lot of work. I'm trying to do this damn puzzle piece. It has taken these two vessels to do a lot of work to get to this point. And like the level of work and the level of suffering to get to this point is like unimaginable. And so, the final judgment is the final judgment. So people have the opportunity of lifetime after lifetime after lifetime incarnating to try to achieve enlightenment, at least be pure hearted, that type of energy. And so normally when you're just judged once you transition, the final judgment on the earth becomes like a judgment while you're here in a vessel, and then it like locks you into a vessel. So whereas these divine beings, they can incarnate at will. They're free. They have totally transcended the body. They have totally, transcended just whatever was binding them to a vessel, having to incarnate in a vessel. And so the people who are going to be bound to vessels, they're never going to be able to experience that heaven on earth feeling, because they're going to be constantly in a meat suit, like confined to a meat suit. And so, I'm like, it's giving the energy that any lifetime you don't achieve full enlightenment, you automatically get sent back in a meat suit, because you have to, like, the goal is for every soul to achieve enlightenment. But when you don't, you get booted back to a vessel, where this is like, with all the suffering and homelessness and unalivings and essays and like all the things, all of the horrible treacherous things we see in life, is like once your soul is locked into a vessel, you have to incarnate and basically exist in that type of experience where you're having to be the one. Like, that's why I was talking about the flipping, the transfer of wealth, where those people who were doing all the, manipulating us like puppets and, infiltrating social media and lying and erasing history and like all of those things, those people are not going to be able to ever transcend the body. So and I'm not saying that you have to have transcended the body through that type of awakening in this lifetime. I'm just saying that there are specific energies who have incarnated in order to work these things out. And so when you incarnate to work things out, that means that you've earned that spot. Like when you achieve enlightenment and you've gotten it out the mud, that is like self-made energy. You earn the spot. Like, the spot is hot, all that shit. And so Basically, yeah. Like, um, so I feel like Spirit is talking about the Eve gene and like, um, I was hearing the universal bloodline. Um, Let me look that up. I don't know if I'll be able to get this on Google. We'll see what comes up. Oh my God. So it brought up a movie where it says Eternal Bloodlines. I typed in Universal Bloodline, but this brought up some movie. It says Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines is an all-female themed haunted house featured at Universal Studios. An all-female themed house? Come on now. Yeah, O is the yeah, O is yes, it is. Man, come on. So it says, and remember I said earlier that y'all have overcome evil, death, and the devil. It says the storyline of this movie, the narrative focuses on an alliance between Shakia, and the descendant of a famous monster hunter, and the bride of Frankenstein as they fight against Dracula's daughter. The whole damn live is clogged. So there is a universal blood type, which is O, but the universal bloodline, I feel like it's an all-female themed haunted house. Like some female warriors about to rise up after after they come into union with their divine masculine. It's about to be an uprising of some female warriors. Stop, Amber. Wow. Okay, so yeah, I'm tripping officially. Mhm. Shit just got real. So that's what the rapture is. That is what the rapture is. But also too, like the imagery that spirit is giving me is like that people will, like the people who have achieved enlightenment will still incarnate but it will be on like the highest timeline. So all of those people that were that are basically now their soul is trapped in a vessel, they're going to be living like strictly humanistic lives. So whereas these other energies will be living supernatural lives, they'll be living supernatural lives in front of the people trapped in a vessel, living just a regular human existence. And so, like, what Spirit is saying is that all of the um manipulation and control over time is what established like a strictly human-ish consciousness. And so in order to, and I feel like, you know, that's what I described as like the first coming or the first half of your lifetime, and then the death, the rebirth, the Kundalini awakening, and then the second coming, which is the second half of your life. So that's what it shows. Hold on. My bad. I said O is the universal blood type, but it's AB positive. I think O is the oldest, right? But the universal one is AB positive. I know that I'm O, so I know that I'm O positive. So I know I can give to all people. Okay. So I think there's a difference because the AB positive is, they're saying here AB positive is considered the universal recipient of red blood cells. But then, but like, I think, was it you were saying O is the oldest one? So like O is the oldest, and I feel like that could signify like the um some of the most ancient beings, like, you know, because if you're considered an original being, or, you know, the original bloodline, then that would be, you know, the most ancient energies. So AB, you can get blood, I think, from any blood type, which makes you really easy to get blood for if you ever needed it. You said that resonates with my human design authority. Okay, that's what's up. Yes. All right, let me put some different music on because I've been listening to this. Where is that sound? Sure, what else do we need to know? Or can we get some confirmation of the channel message? And look, we were talking about the crucifixion of Christ, and look at what came out. You see that? You see how if this person was upright, they would be hanging on the cross? So this is like literally the whole live is clocked with just this card that came out, because you see that the person is hanging in the opposite direction of the crucifixion. Whole live fucking clocked. I mean, do I need to say anymore? Bruh. And Spirit is giving me these interpretations. I'm definitely channeling heavy right now. But either way, it talks about sacrifice. So when you go through all that stuff, when you are in your suffrage and all of that, that's you sacrificing. That's you being a sacrifice to close cycles. And so I'm hearing when people are O positive or have that original bloodline and they're closing cycles, that is closing cycles and healing bloodlines of the ages. So it's one thing to like work on healing yourself and healing your bloodline, like your bloodline as far as like your descendants that you can, pinpoint. But there's a difference between like the original bloodline being cleared. Oh my Lord. And that's what like the shedding of the blood symbolizes, because it's more of a bloodline thing. It's not like, oh, I'm, shedding blood and sacrificing literally, but it's shedding the blood of the bloodline that was distorted and closing cycles and cleansing the bloodline and all of that. He said, everything we do, give thanks. So basically, Spirit... Basically, Spirit has given me these 3 reversals to represent the suffering half of your life. So we have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. We have the 2 of Wands in reverse. And then we have the 10 of Cups in reverse. Then we have the Hanged Man, but like I was talking about, the opposite of being crucified. Now this person, or you who I'm talking to, is on the other side of all of this suffering. So you have transcended all this suffering. Baby. Come on now. And Spirit said, going through the fire and not smelling like smoke. All them jacked up karmic ass relationships, even the ones that produce children, but drained you emotionally, mentally. It felt like there was nothing wish fulfillment about none of that shit. Money fucked up, investing poorly, blowing money, being materialistic, repos, foreclosures, bad credit. What else? Credit card debt. But that awakening, starting to see the world from a completely different perspective, from a spiritual perspective, from an enlightened perspective, you had to die. Yo, if your awakening was super embarrassing publicly, you literally were crucified. Your character, your reputation, your name was dragged, slandered. I'm hearing character assassinated or attempted to assassinate a character. But Spirit said, no worries. It's a new beginning. It's a brand new beginning. And this is that energy that, beginning to look at your energy, get used to your energy, a new beginning in a new energy, like a new frequency, a new level of consciousness, a fresh level of consciousness. Honey. Beginning the journey to all of your success, all of your abundance, all of the everything that you have manifested. Like, this is like, Spirit is basically saying life has really just begun. Like, the hard part is over. You went through all the bullshit, and now your real life is about to begin. Oh boy. He said, can we talk about it, baby? Spirit, can we get some confirmation? Boy, every time I say Spirit, Siri come on. I guess maybe that's my southern drawl. Okay, claim it, receive it, claim it. Okay. The fact that you're here, because I had more people in the live earlier, the fact that it's only y'all here is very significant. Spirit be clowning. Because Spirit was like, and tell them that if they sitting outside the live, this is not for them. Spirit be messy. You said I've been down and through there for real. Seriously. I mean, it's a huge sacrifice. It really is. Because these energies that have had it the hardest, they're the ones that like have the biggest missions and purposes. But the stuff that they have to go through to get to their damn fulfilling their contract is wow. Your person is saying, just down my heart. You said pretty much everything you mentioned, homelessness, jail. Okay, yeah. And see, people judge you for stuff like that, but they have no idea what spirit is doing in your life. Yeah, they never know. They be like, such and such is travel again. Such and such did this. Such and such, on D rugs and such, and just judging the hell out of you. But it was like shit that you needed to go through, that you agreed to go through. So you are worthy of the best life has to offer. That's the first card out. Isn't that spirit loves us so much? You are worthy of the best life has to offer. I know that's backwards, but mystical magical wand, and I like just inadvertently put it on this card right here. Mystical magical wand. Now, I do feel like that has to do with your divine masculine too, because that mystical magical wand, that's part of that wish fulfillment. Okay? It's got to be right. God, goddess energy, I can't make it up. You said just before I got on, I was reading the rebirth card. Oh, for real? Okay. Soul contract. I talked about that earlier. Mastering your energy. Here we go. Confirmation. Mastering your energy. And I inadvertently put this on the God Goddess card on top of this card. Just whole live clock, because we've been talking about Jesus on the cross the whole damn time. And then here we go, confirmation. You are worthy of the best life has to offer. And this was in the reverse originally, but this is confirmation that, like I said, your money is closer than you think. Your happy life is closer than you think. And then soul contract for the Queen of Pentacles. And look, soul contract is written in green. And I didn't even mean to do that. Like, that was just, I was just picking random colors. But you may have been in the reverse in the first half, but you the Queen of Pentacles this time. This half, you the Queen of Pentacles. Because like I said, your soul contract was under review for you completing it. Your soul contract gets reviewed for two reasons. Either you fucking it up or you completed it. Those are the two reasons it goes in review. Spirit, what else do you want to tell the collector? So the spirit is saying it's built into your abundance is built into your soul contract. You mastering your creativity, you being a leader, that's all built into your contract. Spirit said, don't worry about the ops. They on some BS. Your family on some BS, I heard. Your co-workers on some BS. And what we talking about earlier, the divine union. Divine union of the God and Goddess. That's going to create the Christ. Oh, okay. Spirit is saying they on some BS because the majority of the bullshit situations you had to go through was straight interpersonal. Romantic love, platonic love, relationships with your coworkers, relationships with just any and everybody. Spirit said true love is that divine union. True love. He said I was thinking about the divine union in my drive home earlier. Okay, that's confirmation. Created my business in a divine union. Okay, awesome. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Spirit said them people that's been on that BS, they worried. They out here worried with anxiety like a motherfucker. They out here shook. Spirit said no worries. They are getting messages of concern. And Spirit said, fuck them church folks. Look. Fuck them church folks. They on some BS. So somebody church people on some bullshit. Let me tell you something. If you go to church with your divine masculine, you better believe that them damn church folk, them church ladies, were trying to block the hell out of your union because they wanted that man for their granddaughter. And all the young ones was throwing all kinds of shit toward the union because them chicks want him. Spirit said, we got him under investigation and they about to pass down an indictment. So, yeah. They under investigation. Spirit said, you prepared for this opportunity. Yes, you did. You absolutely did. Because all that bullshit in the first half of your life was preparation for this opportunity where you are going to have all of your wishes fulfilled. Because I talked about earlier in the channel message, I was talking about a celebrity, possibly a musician, watching someone and like basically knowing that that's their divine feminine. So that's what I feel like the two of you prepared for this opportunity to come into union, to basically show the world what true love is, show what preparation is for a relationship of this magnitude. Yeah, these people, I feel like this relating to the church folks as well, but treating you differently to hurt you without cause. And that's why Spirit was like, fuck them church folks, they on some BS. Treating you differently to hurt you without cause. And that's why Spirit needs people that's going to show people an alternative to traditional religion, because they be some of the worst. And it doesn't have to be church folk. It could just be, frenemies or whatever. Your twerk win is top notch. So whoever you gonna be with, whoever you gonna be with is going to love your twerk win. Okay. Yes, it be Coles too. Absolutely. Fast moving energy. So I feel like this person is coming in fast. Spirit's talking about you twerking. Who knows how to twerk? Because I don't know how to twerk. Spirit said, let them sleep on your skills, boo. Let them downplay you. Let them sleep on you. All that. Hopefully you ain't see my butt wasn't all in the thing. But you are a master manifester. They hate you because they ain't you. They sure do. Hate you because they ain't you. And look, they gonna really hate you because they ain't you when you come together with your divine masculine. Because, baby, let me tell you something. Let me tell you. Let me just tell you now. You said we've been in the front lines for so long. I'm going through that right now with people where I live. Okay. Yeah, that's the worst. That is the absolute worst. But then when you pop out, they gonna be like, oh yeah, we know her. That's our girl. Ah. No, bitch. No. Absolutely not. Look, don't even call my name. Do not call my name. Okay, well, apparently Spirit doesn't have a message from this deck. Let me try this one again, see if that's all we needed to know. Ooh. What did I say just a minute ago? Breaking traditions. So, yeah, somebody's church folks was on some bullshit. You hear me? Okay. So, I think your divine masculine, wherever your divine masculine goes to church, they on some bullshit. Damn. Like, really? Like, I feel like this person, so it's giving the energy like this person, your masculine may have gone and talked to the pastor about you. And they were, because the pastor knows somebody they want him to be with in the church, he basically made it seem like you weren't good for him. And I think I have a feeling it's because you are a spiritualist. And so, like, the pastor was like, oh no, you cannot mess with anybody that is pulling cards and reading energy and calling themselves a psychic and a medium, and anybody that's communicating with the divine. Like, it's giving that type of energy. Spirit said you're gonna be living the luxurious life with your 10 of Cups. Thank you. With your Queen of Pentacles energy. It's all luxury, baby. So Spirit is saying that you give off like mother safe energy. The Empress, give off Empress energy. Can y'all stop, please? Like, Onyx loves scratching the bed. Hey, cut it out. Down, mama. Down. She said, heaven is the prize, and I'm so glad I found you. You're an angel in disguise. And Spirit said that chick that they were trying to hook him up with is bad built. Folk trying to put people together with, and he wouldn't even like the chick that the church was trying to put him together with. Spirit said, it's okay. Y'all have magnetic energy. Y'all are magnetizing each other to each other. Spirit's a hot man. So nothing else we need to know. Powerful third eye. Oh, yeah, y'all are powerful. Spirit said your energy is expensive, honey. We're not doing no more emotionally unavailable relationships. And this was this right here. In your past. No more emotionally unavailable folks. No more people just trying to be with you for the physicalness of it. Spirit said, don't judge a book by its cover. And I've been saying that it's the ancient beings, the reincarnated ancient beings that are being cloaked. Kind of like how Clark Kent was cloaked. Was Superman cloaked as Clark Kent. And the song on now is Abundance Fall. The money don't stop coming in over here. So we have jealousy, ego, and competition. We'll have people doing some strange things. It's almost, I mean, what's wild is giving the energy of like a hateful mother, like intentionally sending karmics toward their son to try to get them to like be unhappy and off track. That shit is wicked. Look, my kids have said some crazy things to me in the past. I don't care how mad I am at them. I would never, and I can say that with full certainty, that is crazy work. Because for you to do that to your own child is just... Spirit said, you have passed all tests with flying colors. You're vibrating much higher than anyone else. And again, we have burdening you intentionally. So there was people out here trying to burden you intentionally. And look, we have divine union soulmate. Divine soulmate union. We have divine union and divine soulmate union both came out. Of like I think two different, no, maybe not two different decks. This is the same deck. But for both of those to come out, yeah. Confirmation all around. I thought I was going to be on here for longer, but it looks like the whole live is already clocked. And now the song on is affirmative action. It's time for affirmative action. And we have fast moving energy too. He said envy, hate, jealousy. Yeah, we have fast moving energy, so this person is gonna come in pretty fast. And that was right behind when I pulled it out again. That was right behind the true love card. So yeah, fast incoming true love, baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh yeah. Now I'm getting the energy that the people that I'm talking to, you have multiple options, and so spirit is just like choose wisely. And see, spirit be real tricky because spirit will give you like multiple people to choose from, multiple synchronicities with each person just to throw your ass off. Because I'm the type of person that I look for synchronicities. I look for like the name of the restaurant that the person took me. I look for like maybe conversations that we had. I look for just how things unfolded and what's transpired, like all of those little synchronicities. um Also, like a person may say something to me and it'll maybe remind me of something, and then um so I feel like y'all, if you don't have a lineup right now, you're going to have a lineup, and you're going to literally have to choose wisely. But I feel like spirit is going to heavily distinguish your divine masculine from the rest. Like it's going to be very different, a very different feeling, energy. Like you'll just, it's one of those things like you'll feel safe with the person and you'll trust the person, but don't even know why you really trust the person. Um, and just it's going to feel like nothing you've ever felt before. So it's going to be, if you can imagine when you thought that you were truly in love, like how that felt, how euphoric that felt, it's going to feel even more. I can't talk. It's going to be even more powerful than that feeling. Like I'm hearing times 1,000. So, even though you're gonna have a couple of potentials to choose from, this person is going to stand out very boldly. And so spirit is saying it's giving the energy of like someone who does things for you without you asking, someone who like automatically does things to like essentially build with you, but it's not even made official. So y'all are just like, friends. Nothing has transpired, possibly. So one set of people you could just be friends, maybe doing business together, possibly. But it's been just basically largely platonic. And it could be a situation where like maybe you met on a dating site and maybe the initial intention was to date, but then it ended up being like a business situation. It could be that type of scenario. And so maybe you just remain friends over the years, and just like progressively getting to know people. And that's the thing, like getting to know people in their natural element over time is way different from getting to know somebody within a relationship over time, because you actually, like, when it's not a romantic relationship, you actually get to see how that person responds to different situations and different scenarios. And so it's like a raw, true, organic unfolding, if you will, of the relationship, because it's, it was strictly a like friend slash business partnership, or it doesn't have to be. But there was no intimacy or anything like that, like no real discussion about dating, nothing like that. Or it could be a brand new situation. Right, so ready for opportunity. Exactly. So yeah, let me see if Spirit wants to pull out any more cards as confirmation. For some reason, I feel like they want me to say that this person's therapist was discouraging them from the union. That's kind of weird, because I feel like therapists should be neutral. But, maybe that's, maybe the counselor could be like a Christian counselor. Or, maybe they've had a lot of discussions about religion. But I low-key feel like the therapist was trying to set this person up with somebody they know. That's crazy. But I mean, I guess to be told, look at the first card that came out, the Lovers. To be totally honest with you, if a counselor was like, yo, I counsel homeboy, I can't tell you his private business, but dude is solid and I need you to like push up on his ass. Like, I could see that shit. Like somebody wanting the best for their sister or something like that. And because really a counselor, that's crossing a lot of unethical boundaries. But crazy. Okay. Oh my God, the next card is Marriage. Come on, Spirit. Go on, let us know about this divine union. Y'all, if Great Fortune comes out, I'm walking off. So we getting the main males coming through with a message. Oh, hell. Yeah, y'all might end up getting married at the courthouse. Because this person is like, I ain't trying to wait no longer. Look, we about to do this right now. I'm taking you off the market. This person gonna be, and for those of you who already know the person, they're gonna be like, we don't waited this long. Thank you for the follow. I already know you. You know me. I'm not waiting no longer. Like, I done had my eye on you for years and you've been bullshitting. Right. Whoever I'm talking to, congratulations on the wedding, because y'all about to be married. And look, spirits, for some of y'all, it may be somebody at your job. Okay, now, if the person at your job is married, it's a no. Okay. Now, if that person happens to get divorced without your help or somebody else, third party's help, then that's one thing. But no, we not claiming nobody else's husband, okay? Yeah, I said he's had his eye on you for the last couple of years. And look, the way the picture is looking at his ass, I feel like you done had your eye on him too. Shit. And like I said, could have been a business deal. The two of you could have met, like, could have met outside of business, but then ended up doing business together. Yeah, Spirit said, go on and expect that message to be like, can you stop playing with me and just come with me to the damn courthouse? I'm hearing somebody getting flued out. Somebody is getting flued out. So the house card came out. So this could be someone in real estate that I'm talking about, either you or the other person. And then I talk about the therapist. I feel like Spirit is confirming the therapy part. Because, laying in the bed, you don't have to necessarily be, physically sick in the sense that it's just your body and not all your emotions. But, sometimes you got to get checked into that kind of hospital too. The mental health hospital. You got a text? Okay. Right. Well, at least they're healed. Yeah. And like I said, this is a divine union. These two people coming together are of high honor in the spirit realm. I was talking about God and goddess energy. And yes, this is a part of your destiny. No one can come against it. No one can break it apart. This is your soul contract. This is your destiny. This is a union that cannot be, I'm hearing the word thwarted. Yeah, these people in despair because they like, why can't we break these people up? Why can't we prevent them from getting together? And Spirit is like, cause they're protected, bitch. Yeah, they starting to feel concerned because they seeing all these collective messages talking about their grimy asses. It be the spiritualists doing that dumb shit. They know better, but they be doing it. Yes, divine protection. It was your community acting up. It is also, you'll be building communities. You'll be reestablishing communities. When I tell you, we talked about earlier, supernatural gifts. When this union comes together, we talk about supernatural gifts. And so I feel like if one or both of you, so I say this lightly, but if one or both of you are neurospicy, that could be significant because neurospicy people are already operating from like a supernatural standpoint. Because if you've ever seen that picture of, I think it was the New York skyline that this autistic nonverbal man drew in detail after just taking a helicopter ride over the city. What? Intricate detail of all of the buildings and shit. Like, I don't know. That's supernatural. That is supernatural. Sorry, that's supernatural. So don't judge people that are neurospicy, honey. And I feel like that's why Spirit had that don't judge a book by its cover. Because people do judge neurospicy people for real. So you say, yeah, it was almost hard to tell it was a painting. What you mean? I feel like this person, so like if you like say you and this person had like we're doing business together, and so this person like is giving the energy of like this person calling you like on a regular basis, like, hey, what you think it is, let's do this. Hey, what you think it is, let's do that. And then the person call you and be like, hey, what you think about going to the courthouse, get like, hey, what you think about going to the courthouse and getting married like in 2 weeks? And you gonna be like what? You know, like we were just talking about business. But, you know, seriously, like I said, if you've known each other for a while and, you know, like there's really no need to keep playing games. He said, love that type of spontaneous. Yes, that's really cute. He said, I ain't like them other niggas. I ain't about to play no games with you. You know what your problem is. You'll never see the big picture. He said, I want you to take me serious. All right now. Tell me who you fucking love. Hey. He said, back that ass up on me like it's 9-9. And didn't I say your twerk wind is what did the card say? I forgot what the hell I wrote. Your twerk wind is immaculate. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's so funny. And we got change. I don't know why I'm pulling more cards, but we got the change card, number 9, for completion. Completion of your contract. We have official person. I've been talking about this person is a divine being. This person could also be an official person like in the military and the natural. You said more confirmation. Okay, good. And now we have music, and the song is Merry Go Round. And didn't I say merry-go-round earlier? I was talking about the relationship, like lifetime after lifetime. Um, you know, incarnating, being each other. Y'all going through all this shit back and forth, round and round. And I was saying it seems like a merry-go-round. And here we have pathway again, so that's confirmation that this is your destiny. Please confirm. What's false person? So, like I told you, Spirit will present you with false people. You will have a choice to make because there will be people that you see synchronicities with. It could be this, like, maybe the official person in your life, like the military person was a false person, I feel like that could definitely be what they're talking about. But then the Lovers card came out again. So yeah, this is destined. And this card came out again. So this person is constantly thinking about you. And were you talking about this card when you said it was hard to tell it was a picture? And like you're constantly on their mind. And then expect this message. Great fortune. So yeah, expect this union of two official high-ranking spiritual beings will come with great fortune. You better know it. You better know it. You said 5 years. What happened with 5 years? I feel like I need to pull something from this. I'm trying to look. I'm sitting here trying to get off the damn live, and I'm like, oh Lord, I need to pull from this. Spirit, what else you got to say? Oh Lord, and Spirit is like, for those of you that are supposed to have an actual baby from this union, it's gonna seem supernatural because like either you got your tubes tied or they had a vasectomy and you gonna end up still getting pregnant. Oh my Lord. I'm not speaking that over anybody's life. Look. If that's not supposed to happen, we not speaking that over nobody's life. So the first card out is a root chakra. So I feel like the root chakra was possibly that seventh seal. And so now it's time for celebration because you fulfilled your contract. Is that the seventh chakra? It technically is. Yeah, the root chakra is the seventh chakra. So I feel like that's definitely something. Oh shit. So So healing the root chakra was you closing the seventh seal or completing the seventh seal, sealing the seventh seal. And so now it's time to rejoice. It's time for celebration. Like I said, a wedding, a marriage. It's time for your recognition and reward. It's time for you being in the spotlight. Oh shit. And fulfillment of wishes. It's time for all of that, honey. Authority. Like I said, y'all some high-ranking beings now. And if you notice how these cards are colored, rejoice and celebration and fulfillment of wishes, both giving earth energy. And then these are the base chakra. And then recognition and reward is giving fire energy. But you know, when you heal your base chakra and you release that trauma, and you release a lot of the whatever was, like I've talked about on a previous live, that you use your base chakra as a road opener. So it's almost like, damn, now they're giving me the image of like working from the top down. So is that that's what sealing the seven seals is? So like the imagery they're giving me is like sealing the first chakra, the second chakra, the third chakra, the fourth. So basically like healing all the chakras. Okay, so the Kundalini awakening opens the chakras. So that's what they're saying. Like the Kundalini awakening blasts open the chakras, and then as you're working your way down to seal them, like the seven seals, and then you get to the final seal, which is healing your base chakra, which is the road opener to recognition and reward, being in the spotlight, not being in fear of being seen by others, not being in fear of being talked about or judged by others. Just, you know, operating in all of your power, staying grounded. Because when you reach the level of celebrity that I'm talking about, that this group of people is going to be, like, you have to be super grounded. And I feel like that's why spirit, and look, I said super grounded, rest and rejuvenate. Don't push too hard. We in the final stretch. Oh, fuck. And I feel like spirit is saying that you healed your base chakra by standing up for yourself. Finally, there was a situation that you were put in that was the final test for you. That was a huge test, because the scenario involved a lot of different dynamics. It involved being heavily burdened unnecessary. It involved being told a bunch of craziness about other people, like it's giving the energy of a lot of gossiping. And then you having to take action for yourself, and then you having to deal with an environment where people didn't like you for taking action for yourself and standing up for yourself. So you still had to deal with that. And then like the final action was actually speaking your truth, like telling the truth finally. And not saying that you were lying previously, but there were some things that were very important to reveal that you were still like trying to protect someone. And so finally saying what it is that you needed to say in order to stand up for yourself and not protect the other person, that was the final. She said, you said OMG, you said literally told me they don't like the change they see. Okay, you see what I'm saying? They want the old me back. Right. So much gratitude, much love. Oh, thank you. Thank you. She said, we not the same, you my opposite. I am the queen, you my op and shit. The corniest bitches be popping shit. Because this is the thing. Once people don't even like you, what the fuck is the point at that point? Okay, 11/11. It's 9/11 here. So emergency 911 911 9/11 and 11/11. Like my honey's blue. She said it's the multicolored Louis V monogram. And she said, I mean, we not like blown away by Louis V, but we had the luxury car come out. She said, it's a big difference between me and you. I ain't nothing like you, and you. When I tell you whatever you did to stand up for yourself, it's giving the David and Goliath story. And that's why Spirit said, don't judge a book by its cover, because your kindness has been taken for weakness. And Spirit said, oh, they celebrated too soon. Because they thought that they had been victorious. And Spirit said, oh no, we in charge here. We got other plans, bitch. Look, just when you thought that you would get away, just when you thought, because I'm hearing that they put other people in place in order to thwart results. So it's given like let's say you go to I don't know, hell, what's the example I'm trying to give? Okay, let's say you go to court and the opposition sets it up so that you can get a particular judge who is going to rule in their favor. It's a no. That shit still didn't work. Because the divine said we are in charge here. They said we in charge. The song is called Precision. And Spirit said, oh yeah? You want to romp with us? We don't miss. We don't miss. You want to romp? You want to rub with me? I have a really bad Jamaican accent. Oh, yeah. But yeah, she said, we got all the goods on everything and everybody. We are the wisdom keeper. We are spiritual royalty. We are getting our wishes fulfilled. We get downloads directly from spirit. We are the keeper of the Akashic records. Thank you. We saw you coming. Spirit said, we saw you coming before you even knew you was coming. That's why I said seeing the beginning from the end. If you already know everything that's going to happen, you know, that's how you know how to navigate. And people really be thinking that they're more powerful than Source. How are you more powerful than Source when Source sees all? The future, if psychic mediums in a human meat suit can read your future, do you think that spirit can't read your future? And this card was down on the table. I didn't even know it. The light. Look, spirit doesn't need anything. Source energy doesn't need anything to be able to see what the fuck is up. Yeah, deception and envy. All that shit, people, and that's why that card came out earlier where it said ego, jealousy, and something else make people do some strange things, baby. Because when I tell Onyx, if you don't get your behind parts in here now, Onyx, now, Onyx. Onyx, get in here now. He tried to do a half bark before he came in. He out there barking like it's daggone 2 in the afternoon. It's 9:16. We not doing that. We black. Look, victory and success. Damn. Why it take so long? Shit. Look, obstacles and challenges in the reverse. What I say? You completed the cycle. You completed the 7th seal. You passed that card. You passed your test with flying colors came out. Yeah, because you are on the path to your destiny. You are now in the spiral to your destiny. Well, there you have it. And damn, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute. Because the 7th seal, it talks about that pause. It talks about the pause before the trumpets blow. Oh my God. Hold on now. Hold on now. Hold on now. I got to find that. Hold on. I think I might have closed it out. Damn it. No, here. Is this it? Here it is. The seventh seal prophecy in the book of Revelations, chapter 8, signifies a solemn pause, a half hour of silence in heaven before the most intense divine judgments unfold, revealing seven angels with seven trumpets that herald escalating punishments upon earth, ultimately leading to the return of Jesus Christ and the final establishment of God's kingdom. It's a transition point, marking the end of one phase and the start of God's ultimate wrath and mercy on humanity. And I said earlier that this masculine and feminine, this divine masculine and feminine that's coming together is the key to humanity. And look, number 9, completion, spiritual growth. I think we're done here. And look, that's a man and a son. The son represents the masculine, the son of man. And Spirit said, yep, all those people that came against you is going to be straight discontented and bored. Sitting in spiritual jail, which is also jail in your mind. Okay. So, yeah. The live is clocked for about the 50th time tonight. Thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. And I may be on tomorrow. I don't know yet. But thank you, Miss Lee. Oh, and your thing says 9/11. And I was just saying it was 9/11 here. You said, I'm glad I ran across you. Oh, good. I'm glad you ran across me, too. Yeah, girl. I be channeling stuff and I be blown away my damn self. Like, is this shit for real? So, yeah. Ring the alarm. All right, y'all. Good night. Thank you for hanging out, Miss Lee. See you again. Hopefully, I'll see you again.